Hi everyone, Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. My background is my 38th year coaching football. I've either been a defensive, offensive, or special teams coordinator, as well as a head coach at both the collegiate and high school levels. In this presentation, I'm going to continue to talk about our split front versus one back, in particular, 10 personnel one back. So I touched on this in a previous presentation about the same front, split front versus Detroit as well as Toledo, but it didn't have a visual of Toledo. So I'm going to go over that with the visual in this presentation. Okay, so if you really want to see about Detroit, go to the one back front playlist and you'll see about the split front versus Detroit. Okay, 10 personnel. So the rule for the split front versus one back period, and we predominantly use this versus 10 personnel, is once we set the front, it stays. So if the back moves, okay, we don't move. So once it's set, we stay. So if the offense were to come out in what we call Toledo, remember T, see my base 3-4 base playlist, any of the one back formations that begin with the letter T are 3-by-1. Okay. So Toledo is a 10 formation, 3 wide receivers, okay, with a split end opposite. Toledo, 2 O's, open on both sides, okay? So in the middle of the field, up here in the right corner, okay, it's an even rip, and that what that does, the even, it tells the backer he's left, Mikey's right, okay? But beyond that, because the rover's in the front, the dime's going to go back to, normally an even call in like our base package 50-58, the dime's going to be left. Unless it's 3-by-1, the rover's right? Boom, done. But since the rover's in the front, the dime's going to go to the lizard rip like normally in 11 personnel, etc. Okay? And then the rover's going to be a part of the front, staying in a 2-point stance. I didn't mention that in the other presentation. The rover stays in their 2-point stance. So now in 3-by-1 rule, so the offense lines up in the Toledo. The automatic in the middle of the field, rover goes away from the 3 wide receivers. The halfback is irrelevant. It's about the 3 wide receivers, okay? So then you kick the front to the 3 wide receivers. So all he says, rover left, and so the end knows that they all bump. Linebackers say bump right, and they just line up. So the 3, 1, and a 5. The both inside linebackers are head up on the tackle. And so the backer in this case is a static because he's on the side of the halfback, and that'd be a West call. He's a 71 because he's going to be responsible outside the rover. Okay, so essentially the rover and the backer are quarterback defenders. This is a good run front versus a 10 formation. Okay, just the 4 guys on the line of scrimmage, a 4-man look, an even look, is something that we can do simply by making the rover part of the front. He stays in his normal 2-point stance. Okay, so then as a rule, inside linebacker, okay, on the 1 and the 5 side, so opposite the rover, is a 31 technique. Okay, if you're on the side of the rover, you're a 71. If you're away from the rover, you're a 31, and whether or not you're static depends on where the back is. Okay, so over here, the automatic, what's meant by China is we're breaking the rule. It's the opposite of what he normally does. So we always say, like, China, you look at a map of a world, it's on the opposite side of the world. That's all it means. It's on the opposite side of the world from where we are, right? Eastern hemisphere versus Western hemisphere. That's all it means, no more. So now the dime keeps toe on the heel of the defensive end like normal, but now instead of being 5 yards maximum from the tackle, he actually gets all the way in an outside shade on number 2. That hopefully negates any type of bubble action. It can't block down, get 3 on the bubble. They don't have you outflanked that way. Okay, and it's still going to be orbit, but that's the only difference. But it's huge. Corner's going to line up the same. Now the free safety is going to move down 1/8 because that's too much grass inside Ike of number 3. Okay, and that's the configuration. Now, over here, the boundary corner comes up an outside press like we do frequently. So now the offense is thinking, we hope, he's coming down on the snap and he's working back. Okay, they think they got it figured out. It's going to be an invert, but see my 3x1 playlist, check Pittsburgh. It's a whole different look. Our alignment is our disguise. So that's why he's still 2x12. Okay. Now, 3x1, if the ball were on the hash, okay, as is said in even versus Detroit, ball on the hash, rover into the boundary. Boom, done. Whether it's Toledo in this case, or again, see my other playlist, Detroit, when the ball's on the hash, rovers into boundary. That's it. Done. It overrides, in this case, the 3 wide receivers. So if the ball are on the right hash and they put formation into boundary, we call fib, right? Rover's going to be in the boundary as well. He's not going to be opposite. And the dime's going to also be here because dime goes to the lizard rip. So the front would kick to the big field. That's the rule. Kick the front to the big field. It's still auto pit, still auto China, still dime to the lizard rip. Keep everything the same. Okay? I mean, you want your kids to play fast. They can't be thinking about how to line up and worrying about if they lined up right, because then the ball snapped and they can't execute. Okay? So here's the visual for the split front versus a 3 wide receiver, 3x1 look, Toledo, 10 personnel. And this is how we would do it. Okay? So as always, please, any questions, reach out to me at CoachMJSullivan@gmail.com. I'd love to talk football with you.